building that into as part of your marketing and PR in addition to the more traditional routes can be a really powerful 1-2 punch.
You know, we competed in that VentureBeat GamesBeat thing in July and lost to these guys with a really cool game that hasn't shipped yet. But they have a Facebook page with 6,000 fans on it for a game that hasn't shipped yet. Now, that is the sort of thing that you start when you, okay, we're going to make this game. They've got a guy who works probably an hour a day on Facebook, and he posts something cool on Facebook every day, and sure enough, you know, they pick people up. So when they're ready to launch that game, they've got a built-in audience of 6,000 people. If they get every one of those people to install that on iOS, you know, there's a little bump into the charts straight away. Can you get into the top 200 on that day? Probably you could. If you put $20,000 to $30,000 towards a Tapjoy campaign, can you get into the top 100 on iOS? Absolutely. If you put $50,000 to $80,000 against, you know, across all channels, you could get your game into the top 50 games on iOS, and then you've got a chance that the game is going to live or die on how good it is. But if you come in with a marketing budget of 0 and you haven't done that groundwork for the social graph and stuff like that, yeah, it's going to be pretty brutal.
Yeah, so we came out about 2 years ago, and at that point you could actually get away with not having any marketing budget at all. That door is closed. It's over now. When you look at all the games that are out and available right now, you have to have a marketing budget. And there's the point that Jason mentioned before. You have friend networks. We've seen that work really well with other developers as well. Oh, thank you.
Trading traffic between developers?
Yeah, trading traffic between developers. You have 4 or 5 indie studios who all get together and say, hey, today it's going to be your app. Everybody funnels into one app. Next day it cycles to the next person, so on and so forth. All you need are to get the downloads to go up for a day, boost yourself up in the chart, wait for the organics to take over, magic happens. And so also reinforce what Todd just said earlier too. We've had really good experiences in the past taking $35,000, $40,000 and just